So today we're going to be talking about synthesizers. Now, if you've never used one before, or you've dabbled with them before and you want to learn the basics to a high standard, then stay tuned. Hi guys, and welcome to the penultimate topic in this series, the 7 key elements of music production, where we're talking about synthesizers. So today I'm going to show you the basic parts of a synth, and it's not going to be too in-depth because they can get fairly complicated, but after this tutorial you'll understand the beating heart of a synthesizer and you'll be able to make and shape some basic sounds from it. Now the synth that I'm going to be using is called Serum. It's fantastic, it's used by the pros, and I think it's the best one to explain the basics in and then go on to make some incredible sounds with. So if you want to work along with me, then pause this video and download Serum from the link below, and then we'll jump into Ableton where I'll load up Serum and show you around. So once you've downloaded Serum, make sure that you restart Ableton and you'll find Serum in the plugin sections just in here. So if you drag that onto a MIDI track, Serum then loads up for you and this is what you're going to see. Now today we're going to cover 3 sections of Serum. The part that generates the sound, the part that lets you filter bits of that sound out, and the part that lets you control the volume of that sound over time. So firstly, where the sound is generated. Now the part of the synth that generates sound is called the oscillator. You can normally choose from different waves like sine waves, square waves, and so on, which you can change the pitch of, shape and mold in lots of different ways. But let's start with a basic square wave. You can find this under basic shapes and then twist the wavetable position until you get this wave here. And there we go. Now there's 2 oscillators inside Serum. We're just going to be using one today, Os A or Oscillator A. So this square wave can now be triggered by MIDI to play the note that we select on that MIDI keyboard. And Serum actually gives you a little keyboard to try out with down here. So now let's look at the part where we can filter parts of the sound out. This part is simply called the filter, and you can cut or boost frequencies wherever you like. For example, I can cut out the high frequencies by doing this. Turning the filter on by clicking the button just here, and then adjusting the cutoff and testing out the sound. So if we take the filter completely off, we have the same sound as before. But as we pull this down, you hear less of the high frequency and more of the low. This is useful for achieving the exact sound that you want, and I'm going to aim for a bass sound. So now that we've got less high frequencies, as bass is low frequency, I want to control the volume of that note from when I press it to when I release it on the MIDI keyboard. And this is something that we can do with an envelope. Now the envelope inside Serum is just down here, and you've got 3 to choose from. We're going to be dealing with envelope number 1. Firstly, let's look at attack, which is just down here. The attack is the amount of time taken for the note to reach its maximum volume. So at the moment, we've got 0.5 milliseconds, which is basically nothing. So as soon as we press the note, it's at its maximum volume. But if we increase the attack time, the note takes 840 milliseconds to reach its maximum volume from when I press it. It's sort of like a fade-in effect. Now the second control is decay. Now this is the amount of time taken in milliseconds to get down from that maximum volume to the volume where it's going to remain or sustain at. And that links in really nicely to the third control, which is sustain. Now sustain is a volume control and the rest are all time controls in milliseconds. Sustain is in decibels, dB. The sustain volume is the volume that the note will remain or sustain at while you've got the note held down. So if we adjust the sustain time here, you can see that moving up and down, and that's where the note's going to stay while we've got it held down. Now if we adjust the decay time, you can see that moving there, and what that changes is how long it takes for the note to get from this maximum volume down to the sustain volume. And while I'm still holding this note down here, the note remains at that sustain level. And finally, we have release. Now the release time controls how long the note takes to fade out when you let go of the note. The longer the release time in milliseconds, the longer the fade out. By making the release time longer, this is what you're going to achieve. So I'd recommend having a play around with those basics so that you get familiar with what they do, and there are also loads of great presets in this menu up here. These are pre-saved settings that have some really cool sounds, so have a look through these too. Now I hope that's given you a good idea of what synthesizers do and how they're used in music today. And if you've got any questions, then feel free to get in touch via Facebook, email, or here on YouTube. Now if you really want to start learning this skill properly, then I'd recommend getting a friend involved. It's a really good way to stay motivated, have someone to learn with, and bounce ideas off. And in order to do that, you can hit the share button just below this video and send the video over to a friend with a little message on it as well. And if it's your first time here or you haven't done so already, then I would love to have you subscribe so I can keep you in the loop about what we're doing here to help you learn music production from the ground up.